Hey y'all, welcome back to A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am back. I'm back in my tunnel. I'm back at home, and I'm so glad to be able to shoot this video. And y'all, I'm a little rusty. It took me a couple of takes just to do the little intro, because it's been a minute since I did a video, so on a regular basis. But those that are brand new to me, if you're wondering like what I mean that I've been back, I've been gone to Australia for 2 weeks, and so this is the first time I'm back at home shooting a video that's not pre-recorded. It's live to me, like I'm back home. And I'm so excited to show you guys what has happened in the tunnel over the 2 weeks that I've been gone. So if you're brand new here, thank you for stopping by. You're going to get a treat today to be able to see my tunnel, the fall garden in all its glory, because it looks good, y'all. I walked in and my heart just was like exploding. So, and if you're new here, I am in the state of Tennessee. I'm in zone 7B now, which is a whole topic of another conversation. If you didn't know that while I was gone, the growing zones change. I used to be 7A, now I'm 7B, so I got to get used to saying that. And certainly, if you guys want to talk about growing zones, put it down in the comments below, and I'll do a separate video talking about growing zones, what that means, and all that jazz. But I'm in the state of Tennessee, and it is approaching the last week of November. So I've been back for a few days, but when I say I have been severely jet lagged, I have been severely jet lagged. I have not done anything in the garden. The day after I got back, I came down here and I took like a quick peek. I'm like, okay, things are alive. It looks really, really, really good. And I have not been back in here since. So you know, your girl has been tired and jet lagged because I have not done anything, absolutely anything. And I had to make myself get up and do this video. My days and nights have been completely off. Like I'm typically going to bed at like 6 a.m. and I'm sleeping during the day and I'm up at night. It has been a severe challenge. When I got to Australia, it took me like 2 or 3 days to get on their time zone. I would say about a good 2.5 days, and it was easy breezy. But coming back, I think when you come back from, I think when you travel east, it's worse. Anyway, let's not get into a whole, signs of jet lag. But anyway, I'm glad to be back. I don't feel like myself yet, but I'm hoping that I will get there. But nevertheless, I'm in the tunnel, and I want to show you guys, we'll do like a garden tour and just show you how things have progressed since I've been gone. So we were gone for 2 weeks, and so by the time of this video, it's probably been 3 weeks since I shot the last garden tour. So let's just say 3 weeks since I did a video, I think called like mini garden tour right before I left. So it's probably 3 weeks past that. So let's take a look and see what's happened since then. The other thing to note is that right before we left to go to Australia, we took our shade cloth off. This is the first time in 3 years that we've ever done that. And so it was amazing to see coming back how much the shade cloth removal actually did for the growth. I'm convinced 100% that had the shade cloth been on there, I would not have had the growth that I've had in the tunnel. So that definitely works, especially this time of the year. If you're in a tunnel and you have a shade cloth, this time of the year, especially if you're in my growing zone, the temperatures are mild. You don't get as much daylight and sunlight just because the days are shorter. It's getting dark here now around 4:30 p.m. So imagine in the summertime, it gets dark at like 8. So we definitely have less sunlight. And so having the shade cloth on, that I've noticed in the past fall and winters, it really decreases and slows down the growth. So I finally convinced my husband to take it off, and I can definitely tell the growth. So that's what's up with that. And then also for the raised beds, I'm going to show you, for the most part, I had cut a lot of them down and gifted a lot of produce to my brother before I left, so that it would, get a chance to grow back and not be already big before I left, and then just be out of control or go to seed or something like that. So anyway, enough talking. Let me turn the camera around and let's start with the first bed. Here is bed number 1. Y'all, does it not look good? OMG. So excited. So very excited. So, okay, so in this bed, on the left, we have Broccoli, it's coming along very nice. Y'all know it was, if you go back and look at the video, you know it was not nearly this big. In the second row, we have, I think it's cabbage. And then remember, we planted some carrots right before we left. You can see that those carrots are coming up. And then on the very last row, I think it's cabbage and cauliflower. But let me walk around, and I want to take a closer look at these carrots. And remember, we did these carrots, and so we broadcast sowed. We did not do the pelleted seed. We did regular carrot seed, and we broadcast sowed. So you can see I have a lot of germination right in here. Obviously, this is going to have to be thinned out because that's way too much. And here is less germination, and then I got a clump of germination there. But we'll let these get probably an inch or so, a couple inches taller, and then we'll thin them out. But we had good germination, so that's good. And all of these look good and healthy. So this bed is looking great. I think these two back here are cauliflower, if I'm not mistaken. These are just some old volunteer beets, I think, trying to come up. So we'll get rid of that, or spinach, because that's what was in the bed last year, so we'll get rid of that. Yeah, and then I planted a couple of scallions, if you can see that here. I planted a couple of scallions that were just left over that I put in here, and I see that they're growing up. So overall, very, very good. So in terms of irrigation while we were gone, so you guys know, if you've been with me for a while, we already have irrigation, drip line irrigation, in the part of the tunnel that's in ground. But the mad dash was to get the drip irrigation done in the raised beds before we left, and my husband got it done. Like literally, he was down here hooking up the last one as we were pulling down the driveway to head to the airport to pick him up. He had got all his stuff packed. It was in the car, and he was like, give me 45 minutes, and I was still like getting ready, and it was time to leave for the airport. We literally picked him up at the tunnel as he did the last little bit. So he got it done. And so everything was on drip while we were gone. So nobody had to come and do anything in the tunnel, which was a great feeling to not have to, worry about somebody coming and their schedule and all that good stuff. So that was a blessing. So let me take you to the next bed. This is the bed number 2, y'all. This is the bed with the carrots. The carrots have gone bonkers. And then in this middle row is, okay, so all of this is carrots. And in this middle row are the radishes. Now, remember before I left, the radishes were not that big. Now they're just like sitting on top of the ground. And they may be too big to even do anything with. I don't know. Again, remember, I don't like radish, and I don't know what to do with radish, except I remember I was growing it because I was going to try it, and I think you guys said to roast it, it'll taste better. But you guys tell me, this is, I think this is, this might be Red Rover, or I don't remember the name of it. But anyway, they were like maybe this size before I left. And I was like, oh, that's kind of small. Now they're this size. Are they still good, or are they going to be woody? I don't know. There are tons of them here. They definitely need to be harvested. They're like literally sitting on top of the ground. Look how big those are. But I think they may be too big. But anyway, this whole row here is radishes. All of this is the carrots. I see a little small one poking through the ground. They're definitely not ready yet, but I can see them forming, which is good. The parsley has gone bunkers. I got a lot of good parsley there that I need to do something with. Give me some ideas on the parsley, guys. Okay, here's a closer shot of the radishes. You can see how big they are. Like, is that gonna be any good? I don't know. And again, before I left, they were too small, and I didn't have time to harvest them, and then I wasn't gonna be able to do anything with them while I was gone. So I just let them stay in the ground. And again, this was more of an experiment, so I'm not upset if for some reason they're too big and I can't use them, because remember, y'all, I don't eat radish. I just did this as an experiment to interplant, and then also to see if I like it and to try. And I said I would roast some just to see if I would like it. But again, radish seeds grow really, really fast. So I'm going to harvest all these, and then I'll just plant more if I want to, but that's how they look. And there's a whole row of them. Also, if you have some suggestions on parsley, let me know. My parsley has gone crazy. And that's not the curly parsley, that's the flat leaf parsley. So let me know. I'm assuming maybe I could dehydrate it and turn it into parsley flakes. Maybe, I don't know. Let me know what you do with your parsley. You know, some of the stuff, sometimes you grow it and you're just like, let me see if I can. I've done that plenty of times, especially, I still feel like I'm a beginner, right? I've grown stuff just to see if I can, and then I don't actually use it, which is not good. Parsley, I mean, I could use it for broth. I don't know. What y'all use parsley for? Tell me in the comments. Okay, let's move on to the next bed. Okay, y'all, this is the kale bed. Look how lush and beautiful all of this kale is. It is just so, so, so beautiful. I'm blown away. So I have 3 different kinds of kale in here. I have like a curly kale that you can see here on the end. Then I have the calibration, which is that purple mixed color in the back. And then I have winterboard kale, which is that nice pretty one there. So tons of kale in here. And then I also see that's a mustard green in there. I had mustard green in this bed 2 years ago, and I want to say that's a mustard seed coming back. That has come back, I should say. Let me see. Yeah, that's mustard greens. Look at that. Oh, I see some unbelievable mustard greens are all in this bed. That's exactly what that is. That is not kale. Let's see. It smells like mustard greens too. Look at this. It smells just like mustard greens. Y'all, remember, if you have been here, I did mustard greens 2 years ago in this bed in the fall. I did not do mustard greens last year. So I know for a fact it was 2 years ago. But I guess the seeds are in there. That is so wild. So wild, because I did mustard greens and I discovered that I don't like mustard greens. I mixed them in with my turnips. I ate them. It's just, the bitter taste was too much for me. So I said, I'm never doing mustard greens again. But somehow they find themselves their way back into my garden. Beautiful. Beautiful, but all in my kale bed. I got one more I need to grab. We're on the other side. Here's bed number 1. Well, let me show you my scallions in the grow bag. They've gotten pretty nice size, so they're growing very well. They were definitely not that big when I left. But then look at the lettuce bed. You guys know that I was struggling with my lettuce a bit and had replanted some stuff and not started over, but just it was very small when I left because I had just done some seeds. But you can see that it filled out. Look at all of that. And then cilantro went crazy. So you can see how that did. And then I planted some new cilantro in the middle there that you can see as well. So this bed doing quite well. Then as we move over here to this bed, definitely filled out. There's the spinach there right behind that trash can. Let me get a little closer. So spinach there. Remember, I cut all of this back before I left and gave a ton of it to my brother. The broccoli, remember, I took off the insect cover because it was like getting too tall. So I'll take you around the other side. You can see that I actually have broccoli forming there. There's the spinach back here. I think this is a broccoli rabe, I think. This plant right here. I'm not 100% Yep, it's a broccoli rabe. I was right. Because I see the little broccolis forming there. Okay, I was right about that. So broccoli rabe is the first time that I've done it. I have one that's back in the back of the tunnel that went to seed. So again, I don't know if it's a more tender plant. And Yeah, I need to look up and see how it's supposed to grow on that. Yeah, because I see some little broccolis forming, but they're very, very, very tiny. Okay, so in the back here are cabbages that I planted right before we left. So they were seedlings, so they've gotten some size, which is good. I did have a little bit of insect damage, like right in here, which is fine. I'll just pull that one out. Not a big worry on that. And then all in the middle is where I had bok choy that I harvested right before I left. So we'll fill that in. And I still got one bok choy tucked back in there that is ready to be harvested. You can't see it for the broccoli, but it's back there. Let me see if I can. Hopefully you can see that there. And then we do have some broccoli forming as well. See the broccoli there forming. I got 2 or 3 on all these big leaves here. So overall, doing well in this bed. Now this bed here has again exploded. Remember, this was the mystery bed. Remember when I planted this bed, they were all seedlings, and it was I had done seedlings in a 72 cell tray, and when I lifted the tray up, all my tags fell out, so I didn't know what was what, but I knew it was a mixture of greens, collard greens, cabbage, kale, something along that. So it's all filling out now. It has exploded. I want to say these are collard greens right here, and there, and in the middle, and then I have some cabbages forming in the back on the other side. That's what I've deduced so far. As y'all can see, I have plenty to harvest to come in here and get, but I'm pretty sure those are collard greens. So once I get in here to harvest, I'll be able to get a little closer look. And but I see some curling like in the back, so those are cabbages for sure. But all of these I think are collards. One of these circular beds, and the reason why I'm showing you this is because one of the things that we forgot is to put irrigation in these circular raised beds. And so for 2 weeks, they had no water. I didn't remember until we literally came back home, and I was like, you know what? Did you ever put irrigation in the raised beds? He was like, no, completely forgot. But guess what? God preserved them. They did fine. I watered them when I came back, and they're still looking good and thriving. So these are snapdragons that'll definitely bloom in the spring. And then my Dusty Miller that I planted this summer is still hanging on. So let's take a look at the stuff that's planted in the ground in the rows. You can see it's still pretty much covered with insect cover, but you can see the growth. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of the insect cover because I'm actually going to close up the tunnel completely tonight because it's supposed to get down to like freezing. So let me remove some of the cover so you can see. Okay, on second thought, I really don't have the time to remove all of this cover. So I'm going to let you see it through the cover, and then I'll have to remove it later. And then probably when I'm out here harvesting, you guys will be able to see it. But you can see, again, the growth and how things are looking. They look great, and for the most part the insect cover was still on. There were some places where it had blown up or whatever, and like I said, I have one little broccoli rob going to seed, and I had some insect damage on some cabbages where the insect cover had blown off. But I would say 95% of the tunnel is definitely looking good and intact. I had a couple, like I said, insect damage, but look at these collard green leaves, y'all. They are like the size of your whole face. Those are the collard greens, and I got more growing there. This row over here we had just planted, it's doing well, so I'll have to remove that maybe when I come harvest, but I don't have much time today, and it's getting cold in here, so I don't feel like removing it all. I'm just gonna let it stay, especially since it's gonna be cold for the next couple of nights. But it was small seedlings before. You can kind of see they're pretty. I mean, they're growing. They're not ready to harvest yet, but they're a good size, so they're doing well. Then on this side, you can see here how things are looking. There's that row of kale coming up nicely. The middle row is like broccoli and cabbage. I'll take you over here on the back side as well, let you see that. And I'll also show you where my little broccoli rabe went to seed. Small section that did not have insect cover on it. When I came back, it had blown off and just wasn't secured as much. And you can see that there's some insect damage on my cabbage. I was so disappointed. But you know what? It is what it is. I can't complain. So I'll probably pull that one up. Those two right there, I think, are salvageable. This one looks pretty bad on the leaves there, so I'll probably pull that one up. And then these two here look like they may bounce back okay. But that's the only little section that had it there. And then you can see here the little yellow flowers. That's a broccoli rabe that looks like it's going to seed. I'm not sure why. It's not even completely mature yet, but yeah, we'll pull that up. But then you can see all the rest of this stuff seems to be growing. Seems to be growing just fine. I didn't have any insect damage anywhere else. So y'all, that's a quick garden tour since I've been back. Like I said, I apologize on some of the cover. I just don't have the time to get all the cover off before I gotta go to my next appointment. So, but that's the gist of it. Overall, I would say 95%, yeah, probably 98% is looking good, intact. Had a couple of things with some insect damage in this row here that we just left, and then a couple of things in the raised bed. We got some surprise mustard greens. I don't know where those came from, but overall things were great. For me to not have been here and nobody here did nothing in the tunnel for 2 to 3 weeks is a blessing. I'm most thankful. And when we got back, like 2 days after we got back, the water, our hose out there busted, like our whole hydrant system has busted. But it didn't happen while we were gone, so that's fine. So I'm having to hand water. And because the temperatures are not very hot here lately, then you don't have to really water every day. So I'm not that concerned about it. I was going to water now, but I'm running out of time. My husband is calling me. We got somewhere to be. So I got to go in the house and change clothes and get ready to go with him. So I'll probably water it tomorrow. In terms of the temperatures here, it's supposed to get to freezing tonight. The temperatures, while we were gone, they were like in the, I want to say 65 to 75 range. So it was very pleasant while we were gone. Since we've been back, it's been about the same. But this week coming up is supposed to be, I think the highs are like in the 40s to 50s. And then the lows are going to dip down between 25 and 35 at night. So it's definitely cooling off. So I'll have to come out. I'm closing up the tunnel completely today. And then I'll have to come out here in the middle of the day when it's warmer in the tunnel and try to harvest over the next day or two. And then we'll water and fertilize and all that good stuff. So we'll just watch the weather and see what happens. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. And I want to say a special thank you to everybody. You guys are the sweetest, most caring, most compassionate. Thank you guys for sending me prayers that we made it to Australia safely. Thank you for checking on me while we were there. Thank you for checking on me, saying, hey, are you back? I hadn't seen you on video and all of that. I apologize. I know there's been a week since I've shown up, but I did all the recorded content I could before I left, and I was, was thinking when I got back, I'd be right back at it. But your girl has been jet lagged, like severely. So pray for that. Pray that I get back on my feet on a normal routine, normal schedule, and feel like myself again very, very soon, like this week. Like that's what I need this week. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, gardening is a journey. This is all part of it. Cannot wait to see you next time. And remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. See you soon.